Okay, so we're starting with ordering rational numbers this week. Um, this unit, uh, your test at the end will probably only have positive numbers, but we come back to this again when we do integers here in a few units. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce y'all to the integers as well, okay? First of all, what I want you to know is that an integer is a whole number and its opposite. Okay? You should know that from your first unit. So it cannot have a decimal or a fraction. I'm going to tell you though, the fractions you have to simplify. So if it was, let's say, 4/2, that's actually 2. So that is an integer. Okay? Just watch it whenever you're looking at those. Alright, so these numbers down here at the bottom are the first ones we're going to talk about. Okay? When you have a number line, I know that some of you will already know this, but not everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Make sure that you understand that a number line, starts with your 0 and goes 1, 2. I'm actually going to space this out a little bit better so that we have a nice, pretty picture. 1, 2. Make sure that you know that it goes the opposite direction. If you folded this in half, it should match up exactly with its counterpart, okay? I've had people that labeled them like the same direction as positives. It goes the opposite way, okay? And then also what you need to know is that -1 is larger than a -2 because of the absolute value. But we will get into that later, okay? What you need to know now is if we were going to label these, this is what we would do. We would put a dot. Here, let's label this A, B, C, D, and E. You have to put them in the same form, okay? You can't know which one of these is bigger without putting them in the same form. So either both as a fraction or both as a decimal. I see a lot of decimals in this set, so I'm going to stick with decimals, and I'm going to change this one. Okay, so if you have 1 1/3, that means 1 and is your decimal place. And then remember to change 1/3, you take the fraction and do your A over B is 1 divided by 3. This is a benchmark fraction, so you need to just know this eventually. And remember, this is the one that's going to repeat. So this is 1.3 with a bar on it. Okay? So now that I have them all in the same form, I'm going to label them. A is here. -1.2. This is between 0 and 1. 1.2 is going to be between 1 and 2. Here's the halfway point. We're going to be closer to like right there. So here is B. Here's C. D is 1.3. So here's between 0 and 1. We need to be between 1 and 2. Here's your halfway point, which would be 1.5. But we're at 1.3. So that's kind of the halfway mark of that. So that would be your D. That's really bad, D. D. And then 1.25 would be exactly halfway between both of those. So those are actually really close together. Okay. So then if you were labeling these greatest to least, you would say, let's say greatest to least. You'll see it labeled like this a lot. You would say, always use the original form, 1 1/3, 1.25, 0, negative 1.2, negative 1. Okay. This unit is fairly simple if you can remember your A over B and changing a fraction. If you don't know how to change a fraction still, you're going to have a problem with this, so make sure you understand that. But as long as you understand that the negatives go the opposite direction, you'll be fine. And also that the further away, let's actually write that down so that we have it. On the negative side of number line, the larger the negative number, the smaller the value. And this is actually called the absolute value, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, so for example, negative 10 is less than negative 1. Okay, alright, if you have any questions, ask Ms. Joyner.